Okay, what's up? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Whoa, sick. All right. And we have a lot more people coming in, so we'll do all this in a little bit. We'll give people another minute or two. Let me pull up my email. Ba-ba. Why don't we start with quick intros? We'll go with JB. I don't know who that is, but tell us where you're from, what you got going on. Um, and yeah, a little bit about you, where you're located, and say what's up.
Hi, yeah, that's Janet. I've never been on this group before.
What's up?
Um, Hi, I'm from the Northeast, Boston, New York City area, but I actually live in Durham, North Carolina, and I follow you on social.
Nice.
And love your no nonsense approach. Um,
Thanks.
and have gotten out of relationships with two avoidance, and it's just still hard to break the addictive cycle. So it's why I was like, "Hey, let me pop on this call and see what it's like." I've done
Sick.
a lot of work, therapeutic work myself, so can see my patterns, but still get ensnared by them at times. So,
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I looks like we got a full roster. So as everyone's kind of joining, just think about these group calls. All these group calls are free. I love doing these group calls. A lot of these people that do hop on these are my clients. And this is our community. I started opening this up to more people just because I think there's a lot of great things that people say to each other. These group calls are not for me to promote my 2 cents and what I think. I like to have people submit questions and you guys will submit them anonymously. How these group calls really work is that I'm just going to read the question and then pick on someone, usually an alumni. There's a couple of alumni in here, and we'll kick it that way, right? Give a short, concise answer about what you think. If you have something to add to that, raise your hand or just kind of like comment in the little chat box because there's a full roster here. We'll just have everyone do their intros at the bottom. So if you guys all want to introduce yourself, just write your short, quick bio. Hey, I'm so and so. I'm from whatever state, and I'm here to do this. That way, you guys can connect with each other. Share your social, right? Or not your social security number, but like your social handle. That way, you guys can follow each other. And seems like we have a lot of questions, so we'll do this. Also, these group calls are recorded, and I like posting these on YouTube, but I don't want the fact that I will put stuff out there on YouTube to stop you from sharing as much as you can or you should on these group calls, right? So if you don't want your name or you don't want your face or whatever else, just say as you're talking or put it in the comment box or send me a message and be like, hey, just don't post this one on YouTube, whatever else. I'd rather you guys get the most out of being here from each other rather than worrying about what people are going to be on the internet. Okay. All right. So intros, you guys will introduce each other and your thing. Brian, nice. Get going there. And we'll hop into the first couple questions. Ba, ba, ba. All right. Number one. Um, we're gonna save that one for last. Let's see. Submit up to two questions. Oh, this is a good one. How to engage on dating apps? Right? How do you break it to family members, your ex, and adult children that you are now actively dating? Let's go with Val, Valeria. I want to hear from you. How do you break it to family members that you're actively dating?
I don't know why you would pick me for this. Okay. Well, I think it's not hard because I'm single, so I think they expect it. Um, how do I break it to also, I don't share a lot of my uh private life, like because if I'm dating someone, I could just go on one date and never see that person again. So do I really have to tell people about it? Like maybe not until I get to a point where I feel like it's heading even more serious. I don't know. I think it's okay to keep some things to yourself. Like see how it goes. And then if you really feel the urgency to say something, then you can. Maybe my advice is not great, but I just wouldn't.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like, do you need somebody's permission, your family member or your kids that you're actively dating? I think that's a really, really good point. Let's see what Mr. Ortiz, how do you break it to family members that you're dating or are engaging and actively dating? How would you tell family members that?
I don't
I
have,
think it,
have any family members, so I don't have nobody to tell.
but like friends or whatever, how would you kind of tell them all that?
Um, I'm not sure about that one. I'll have to come back.
Okay. Amy Lemons, what you got?
Oh, I I don't think I would tell anybody. I think I would just I don't know. I have a fun list of things I like to keep everybody on their toes. Sometimes I like to let people think I'm dead. Um, so I just I don't know. It's like to keep things to myself and I don't know, maybe just surprise people with a invite to the wedding. Huzzah.
Mhm. So you would rather keep it closer to the chest and have people not know.
Yeah, yeah.
What,
I'm
what
in that season of my life where I just like to keep people confused.
yeah. How do
Hmm
you think those family members or those people would react to if you brought someone new home or dropped it to your friends or family?
I guess I wouldn't do any of those things. I just live in my own little world and keep to myself. So I don't know. I'm not a good one to ask on this one. I'm a weird little
Mhm.
creature. So
Okay.
I'm a
Okay.
bad one to ask on this one.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, I think that's a good question. Does anyone else JB, let's see what you got on that one. Let's hear what you have.
Yeah, I think I'm a little different. I feel like well, most of my family's dead, but my friends, I'm really open about it, and I have kids as well. And I share because I think it's like a learning opportunity. Because even if it doesn't work, I'll share that. But I'm also a verbal processor, so I like to talk about it with my people, and those people I would share initially with. If it didn't work out and it sucked, I would tell them as well. So, but I'm also an extrovert, so connection and people is like brings me up.
Mhm. Do you feel like you need their permission in order to make the decision that you're dating?
No.
Approval?
Oh, that's a good question. No. I think I will go to them more if things are hard, right? To get some insights. And I've also had to learn that they're bringing in their own baggage and their own shit. So I have to I think my self-work is how do I really trust myself and not necessarily need their opinion, but share just because I connection and I want their insights, but I don't need them, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm,
But when it goes
yeah.
awry, I have to be careful of do I listen too much or not? That's when it's like the dynamic shifts. So
Yeah. Has anyone been in a situation where you're dating someone that your family and friends don't approve of? And how did that turn out for you? Tasso, I hear from you.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, that was my question, guys. I don't mind sharing that.
Yeah.
And I did date somebody recently, and when I was open about it because I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there was any reason to hide it. It did not go over well, even though my wife and I are separated now for quite some time. Um, Yeah, she did not. I guess her definition of separation was different from my definition of separation, although we had agreed to see other people and whatnot. And when I finally told her that I was seeing someone else, um, kind of, we went through a bit of a phase. We're all good, very amicable now. But yeah, I just wanted to get that feedback from the rest of the group. And I don't mind sharing it, like it's a human thing, right? So, um, yeah. Um, I'm okay with I don't think I have any secrets to hide. That's the way I see it. I don't need anybody's approval. Obviously, I started dating months after we agreed to on that. But yeah, I'm at that point now where it's out there. So if it's in the beginning, I probably wouldn't say anything, right? If I'm gonna start dating somebody, probably in the beginning I wouldn't say anything until maybe it got a little bit more serious, I think that's how I would handle it. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Anybody else on this one? I thought that was a great question. So, how to break it to family members, ex and adult children that you're actively dating. Anybody else want to chime in on here?
I got something now.
Okay.
I usually don't bring somebody around back in the days it was different, but I usually don't bring somebody around unless I'm serious about that person. And then they just know, okay, well, he doesn't bring anybody into his world, and you know, and then they just know, and then they'll start asking questions after, like, oh, is this, must be a serious thing because you don't bring anybody around to family functions or whatever. So that's just kind of how I do it.
Yeah, I like to shoot first and ask questions later too, but I have worked myself out of people pleasing tendencies when I was younger, or kind of the nice guy syndrome stuff. And I've seen a lot of that lately. Um, I don't think that you need anyone's permission in order to live your life. So I teach clients on three things, right? And you guys have heard me say this 1,000 times, but authority, autonomy, and authenticity. As long as you retain those three things, those three A's, like you're good. If you have authority, authenticity, and autonomy, like at work and at home in your own life, you don't need other people's permission, right? Like why as we as a culture are doing this approval seeking behavior, I don't really know why this has become a thing. And it's becoming a thing more prevalent even in older generations too. Like we're finally starting to snap out of this. And I think we're just becoming more conscious of it, that this approval seeking behavior is just not beneficial to what we want. Like having boundaries, stating your intentions, walking away, letting go super quick, super fast is like that's where the future is, in my opinion. But we'll continue to talk about that. But great question. Anybody else wanting to add to that? Nope. Okay, cool. Let's hop to the next question. Ba-ba-ba. Oh, this is a good one. If you go to a place where your ex is weekly, do you just not go? Do you ignore them? And how do you turn off the old feelings when you see them? This is a good one. Don't make me call on somebody. I'm gonna call on Josh. Let's see what you got. Josh, if you were to go to a place where your ex is weekly, what advice would you give to another person about how to handle that situation?
Um, I don't know. I'd probably not go out of my way to like say anything or do anything abnormal. I would just live my life and do what I'm there to do. And if that person comes up to me or initiates, I would just be very cordial and just act like I'm talking to a friend and do my best to just keep on going.
Good. I like that. Joe Jackknife out of Canada. What you got? Give it to us.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like a thing you're doing weekly and you're seeing them weekly, I'd probably maybe switch off your routine a bit,
Mhm.
maybe pick a different spot. And then similar to Josh, just yeah, just keep it pretty friendly and high level and try to keep, yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't go too deep into it with them.
Okay. I like it. Uh, Jess, let's see what Jess has to say. You're there. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm here. Um, so I think for me it depends on the ex, really. I have an ex-husband who like there's I don't know if it's like the emotional arc was fully completed or something, but like if I saw him in public, there would be no feelings like on either end. So I could say what's up and it'd be very, you know, like there wouldn't be anything behind it. But pretty much anybody else I've ever been with or like I don't know. There's been a lot more relationships where I've had to like either I or the other person, one of us has blocked the other and then never talked again. So I don't know. I think for me, it depends on the person. It depends on the situation. It depends on if there are still feelings there or not. So I think it would just be a case by case basis for me. But if it was someone that I still had like there was like an emotional charge, um, I certainly wouldn't be getting into anything like heavy. I mean, maybe like, hey, what's up? But that would be it.
Good.
So I don't know. Maybe the same action, no matter who the person was. But I don't know. I just feel like I'll know, if there's anything internal going on or not. But I'd probably handle it the same way no matter what.
Tasso, do you have something there too? What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think sometimes for me personally, if you have an issue with seeing that person even on a weekly basis, then there could be doors that you haven't closed yet, right? And that's still bothering you. So I would have to find what it is and kind of close off those connections, whatever they may be. Um, Again, even with my ex or the girl that I was dating not too long ago, I'd have no problem seeing her. It was part of my journey. That's how I see it. Um, and I'm moving on, right? So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for every interaction. So I haven't dated a lot. Obviously, I've been married for so long. Um, but I haven't really left anything. It hasn't been messy, right? Where there's unfinished business, right? So yeah, yeah, I think I'd be okay. I probably wouldn't want to see him every week. Um, but yeah, I don't think it would bother me. If you've moved on, you've moved on, I guess. That's how I think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good question. I would think about how is your nervous system acting around this person? If your nervous system is healed, and this person no longer presents a threat to you and they're not upsetting your nervous system, awesome. Like keep going, just go and be you. But if this person still has an effect on your nervous system and you're going into fight or flight mode, like that's a clear sign that this area, this environment, this meeting place that you're at, is not necessarily a quote unquote safe place for you and your nervous system. Your nervous system can only go back in between fight or flight for so many times before it goes to the stage called fawning. And when your nervous system stops and you go into fawning, that's what happens to deer in the headlights and you freeze. And deer in the headlights, they're not thinking, right? So if your nervous system is going, well, do I fight this person or do I run away? Like you got to get out of that situation because you freezing in a situation, especially around your ex, is not going to be good for you and it's not going to be good for them or the dynamic, whether you want to be with them or whether you want to move on. It's just not good for anyone's dynamic there. So it's bad for one person, and it's even worse when both people are probably feeling that way because you both share an environment that you go to weekly, right? Anyone else have anything they want to add to that? No, that was a good question. So, and if you guys have other thoughts about this, like chime in the chat, like talk to each other, message each other if you like someone's take. I want you guys to connect from this. This is really, really good. All right. Ba, ba, ba. And if you're just super quiet, I'm just gonna call on you anyway. So like you might as well just volunteer, right? I don't like public speaking, so we're all getting over something here. Next question. Ba, ba, ba. I'd love to talk about more strategies to truly go no contact with a repeat avoidant partner. The addiction is so strong to stay in this negative cycle. Why is it so hard for me to let go of the story that they actually do care and just need time? Let's stop there. I think that's a great question. So let's talk about continuing to wait for someone that has avoidant tendencies and whether or not that person just needs more time. Uh, Valeria, what you got on this one? Avoidant people.
Um, I think the part that bothers me about that question is the last part where you say, and knowing if they need more time, like, what about your time? You don't have time to waste. If at some point this person is coming back, you'll get there when you get there. But there is right now, that's not the case.
Fucking perfect. I think that the internet loves to talk about avoidant people. I'm gonna put his Instagram handle down here, but you probably have come across this guy. His name is Lance McKell, and he talks about avoiding people. Lance was my coach like 6 years ago when I was going through a really, really tough breakup. And he teaches something very specific called emotional strengthening. But his content has gone viral because all he does is talk about avoiding people. And I love that. And I love having those conversations too. But a lot of my content lately about avoiding people is like, they're not really avoidant. They just don't like you. That's my honest take. And if they don't like you right now, that's really fucking hard to accept. I get it. But like, I wish somebody went back in time and told me that, hey, this person's not really being avoidant. They have this. There's a book, it's called Attached. And it's one of my favorite books. I make all of my clients read it at some point, but it talks about the attachment styles of what avoidance do, what anxious people do, and how to have a secure attachment. But we somehow fooled ourselves into thinking that you can only be one of these things. You can actually be all three, depending on the person, the environment, your life circumstances, how you slept last night, what you had for breakfast. Certain things can make you feel more anxious. Certain people can make you feel more avoidant, and you can generally be secure as long as you want to be, as long as you're in a healthy dynamic. But avoidant people, they fear intimacy. It makes them run away. And so that intimacy, that closeness is associated with being too vulnerable, and that's what makes people run away. So if you, as a largely anxious person, more so anxious person, continue to chase or wait or hold space for that avoidant person to come back, they don't come back. They only come back when they feel safe and they see you walking away because they actually do want that intimacy. So you, quote unquote, waiting or holding space for that connection that's the opposite of what you should be doing. You should be like, okay, cool, you're going to run away. You either just don't like me and I need to accept that. So peace out. Or you show me who you are. I don't like those tendencies. I don't want that in a partner that I'm seeking for the rest of my life. Also, goodbye. It should just be, hey, as tough as it is, I need to cut my losses here. This person has shown me who they are. I'm out. Life is too short, like Val said. So I know that's brutal, but that's my honest take about that. It's really, really, really tough, especially the more that we date, the more that we feel like they're the right person. We fall in love with potential all of the time. We meet people and hear guys talk about this all the time. They meet chicks and then they go, oh, she's the one. After the first date, you see a chick, whatever, out at a bar, restaurant, and immediately you picture the next 20, 30, 40 years of life with her. And it's like, that's cool. That's how guys operate. But as we fall in love with the potential, when we continue to date and we really like someone, we always fall in love with who they could be instead of who they actually are in reality. And we need to start breaking that cycle. So that's kind of my soapbox there. Sorry, I'm very passionate about talking about that. Let's pick somebody else to go to on this one. Amy, what do you think about avoiding people?
I knew you were going to call me. I think there's a certain amount of grace that you can give people. Like you said, we can be all three at once. You can give people a certain amount of grace, but you have to know where your boundary is with that. I have a different perspective just because I have seen so many sides of the coin with in a circumstance that I was in, so I was able to see all of the cards on the table with a situation I was in. And when you see everything laid out in front of you, you're like, oh, they're not avoidant, they're just an asshole. So it's easy to say, oh, they're avoidant, and it's like, well, no, when your messages are sandwiched between all the other women, you're like, oh, okay, not avoidant, asshole. So there you go. It's pretty easy to put that boundary up and go, okay, pause, and we're done here. So
Good. I like that. I wanna call on Joe. You said you were 100% avoidant in your last serious relationship, and that totally switched after the relationship ended. So yeah, it 110% can change, but what does an avoidant look like as a male in a relationship looking back? Let's hear it from you.
So I'm gonna expose myself a bit, but I always find, and I don't know if you guys heard of the book, it's like The Art of Not Giving a Fuck. But I find sometimes when you're like trying to hold on to something or you want something so bad, it's the more you hold, the more it releases. I don't know. So I found sometimes if I like the person, I'll actually like act like I like them a bit less. or just get caught up in other things. And it seems to really pull them towards me and them kind of being more obsessed with me. And it's not healthy, it's not good. But if I lose that thing, and then that's when I actually switch, and then I become the person that's super anxious and wanting it back, right? Uh, in high school, I really liked this girl, and I kept trying to convince her to date me, and we finally started dating. And once we started dating, I was actually avoidant, and I'm not proud of it, but I ended up cheating on her. And then she left me, and I just kind of ended it. I was like, hey, whatever, wasn't meant to be. Uh, and to this day, she'll still like text me once in a while, or if I see her, run into her, she'll like bring up our relationship, and I don't know, it's messed up and it's bad on me, but yeah, it's just interesting how it all works, and yeah, it's kind of why I'm here to figure it out. A little bit of a rant, but
No, I really like that as well. So one of my friends that I made through, he's another content creator. I threw his chat in there. His name's Taylor Love, and he's a really, really smart guy that he loves talking about like the male and female dynamics. And I think he has a lot of great, great takes on stuff on like how to get men to commit and how to be with an avoidant man is one of his latest videos, and the biggest green flags that he's going to commit to. I really do like his stuff, and I text with him sometimes, and he's trying to get me to fly out to Hawaii to like film content. I'm like, dude, I don't have time. But he's really, really good. Like the stuff he puts out is fire. So if you haven't followed him, go check him out in the chat because he talks about this stuff specifically. Highly recommend his shit. Does anyone else have any thoughts on avoidant, how to be with an avoidant partner, what being avoidant looks like, or how to hold space and wait?
I think I can comment on the avoidant
Yeah.
thing. Sorry. Because I can turn avoidant real quick if I feel smothered at all, because I have such a high risk job sometimes. If I don't focus on my job, and if I'm not given space to do what I need to do, listen, don't smother me, let me do my thing. Jesus Christ. Like, I think all of us that have grown-up jobs and need to do grown-up things, if I feel like my autonomy is threatened, I'll push back. And I think all of us do that. And that's where we flip between the three very quickly. And so I think that's where we can hold space for each other and know if someone is actually an avoidant or do they feel like their autonomy is being threatened. And so that's where we have to put our grown-up pants on and say, like, are we stepping on someone's boundaries, or are they truly being an avoidant? So that's where I am.
Yeah, I think that's a fucking amazing take. Um, Especially when you need to do adult stuff and somebody's infringing on that right, you're like, get out of here, right? Um, doesn't matter if you claim to be an anxious person, avoidant, or secure. Like if somebody is pressuring you too much, you're like fucking rabbit punch to the throat. I need space.
Right.
So
Leave me alone. Let me
yeah.
do my grown-up shit. I got to focus on this thing before I accidentally delete someone because I'm focusing.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people in the past couple months have been relationship based, and a lot of people have asked me that question. And I'm trying to be considerate here, but like, how do I hold space? How do I, how do I wait for them? Should I wait for them? Should I reach out? Should I break no contact? I got a DM from some guy today. I get so many DMs from dudes like these long life stories, and I'll just go to the bottom and try to answer the question as fast as possible. Because sometimes I don't have time to read that much. But he was like, "How do I, manifest my ex back?" And then I started reading his story, and it was like clearly toxic. And I was like, "Okay, you need to let go." So I'm trying to move people to the fact of like, okay, lose hope, let go, cut them off, accept it, move through your 5 stages of grief as fast as possible, get to acceptance, and then say, "Hey, I'm closing this door. I'm not going to lock it. If they want to come back, cool, I'll address that. Otherwise, life is short and I need to go over here." Like, life is so short. You have 1,440 minutes a day. That goes by really quick. You want to boil it down, you probably have 1,000 after sleep. How are you spending those 1,000 minutes a day? If you're spending that 1,000 minutes a day waiting for someone, checking your phone 300 times a day to see if they texted you back, guess what? That's not healthy. That's That's literally negatively impacting your life every second of every single day. So at what point are you going to put yourself through as much pain to the point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and say, I literally cannot allow myself to act like this anymore. I'm setting a boundary. I'm cutting this off and I'm fucking moving my life in this direction. Like I have got to do this. Um, yeah, I could talk about this forever. Does anyone else have anything else they want to add to about avoidance specifically? Jess, I feel like you and I just talked about some of this the other day. What do you have? You want to tell people your experience from
Hmm.
the other day?
Yeah, I mean, I did ask for clarity because it was a situation where it was never really um it wasn't left on like a resolved note, I guess you could say. So I did ask for clarity. I got the clarity, which I was grateful for. Um, and then I almost feel like a diluted version of the relationship was suggested, like best friends or whatever, because there's something that he's dealing with that's unresolved. And I just declined it. I basically was like, that's not gonna work for me. Like that would be painful for me. So like I can't do that right now. And basically just said like if you are ever in a place where you are truly fully available, like I'd be open to hearing from you. But like with the way things are right now, like no, I can't be in regular contact. No, I can't be your friend. And like I wish you peace and clarity, like just something like that, basically, where it wasn't like I didn't have to vilify him, I didn't have to slam the door shut, but I had to make, and now is like the integration part for me, like getting, like I have so much understanding, I feel like, of why he is where he is, why I'm, like I just have so much insight on the situation. So now it's about like getting the acceptance, so that I can just truly mentally, like internally move forward. Yeah.
Agreed. Like, I'm a big fan of stating your intentions one time. If it's a breakup, if it's a conversation, if it's a dating scenario, like if someone's not willing to move forward with you, like two yellow parallel lines on the road, right? And they have different thoughts, or they need time, or they need space, or they need to figure it out, or they have a lot going on, or they just went through this thing. Like, fuck, I've done that to women before. I've gaslit them. I've not been honest about stuff, right? But I knew I didn't want to date those people, but I wasn't ready to lose them. And I've said shit like that. So that's how I know when guys are saying bullshit like they have, Jess. Um, but people don't need time. Like move to acceptance, and the best thing that you can do, whether you're a male or female in these kinds of situations, is just say, "Okay, give me a call if you change your mind," and then you walk. Right? You show your value, you retain your confidence, your self-worth, your identity when you say, "Okay, give me a call if you change your mind. Peace." And you walk away. That comes from a book called 3% Man, one of my favorite books of all time by Corey Wayne. I think Corey Wayne's kind of an asshole, even when I put this on the internet. Hopefully he doesn't see that. But like he's a really, really smart guy. But that phrase, when I read that book like 10 years ago, I was like, okay, give me a call if you change your mind. If you can say that after a breakup or after getting what you want or not getting what you want, that's the most powerful thing that you can say. And then you walk. You're not begging, you're not lying, you're not waiting, you're not hoping. You're just saying, okay, cool, moving to acceptance, give me a call if you change your mind. And then you improve and you find somebody better later. Don't accept less than what you want, like the friendship type stuff, like anything else, especially from avoiding. Oh, maybe I can give you a call in a couple weeks. Maybe things will change down the line, right? It's all fucking lies and bullshit. Just leave avoiding people alone. They're gonna get bitch slapped by the universe at some point. I promise you. I have, Joe, you have, every other avoidant person here has, and we know what that's like. Does anyone else have anything to add on this? My favorite subject.
I have a question. So
Shoot.
this last relationship I was in, last serious one, I was the avoidant, and a lot of it was due with my environment, like my surroundings. High pressure job, similar to Amy. I was really focused on trying to uh, climb the career ladder here at the job. Um, so like I always pushed this girl away and never really made time for her, and all the stuff that work brought on me, like stress, whenever I kind of like brought on her. How do you realize that you're being avoidant and causing the problem, and kind of shift and fix that mindset? Because it took
Mm,
me losing losing this girl that I really liked to realize, oh fuck, I was the one causing a lot of these issues.
Damn, what a great question. Who wants to answer that? All right, fine. Fuck it, Joe. I'll answer it. Yeah, I think it takes exactly that. I think it takes losing the girl. I'll
Yeah.
be honest. I think it's a requirement for men to go through heartbreak and losing a girl and fucking up a relationship that is really, really important to us in order to facilitate that long-term change. I think the world deserves better, more capable, emotionally available, and intelligent men. And I think that the way that needs to happen, unfortunately, is for men to go through heartbreak. I can't speak on women because I'm not one, right? I just get the pleasure of asking you guys and then having you guys be the subject matter experts on these group calls. But I think for men, heartbreak is a requirement at any age, probably multiple times throughout your life. Hopefully, just once, maybe twice, and if you're unlucky, maybe three times, right? Because heartbreak sucks, but it facilitates change. The same way that pain forces you to change. At some point, if you turn the stove on for 5 minutes and then you put your hand on that burner, you're only going to do that once. You're only going to boil hot water once and spill it on yourself, right? You're only going to do that one time, hopefully. So we learn from pain, and I think that men have to learn from pain in order to facilitate and experience that change. I was avoidant in my first major relationship, and that relationship meant a lot to me. And guess what? I made my partner really anxious to the point where she said, "Wow, I've had enough. I don't like feeling this way." Broke up with me, and then it flipped. She became the avoidant one, and I was the anxious one. And that's how I learned that whole dynamic. And I spent a lot of time chasing and trying to get answers and closures and blah, blah, blah. Now here I am on the internet talking about this stuff like it's my job. Okay. So like that pain will change you. And it is, I think it's a requirement for men.
Yeah.
Tassa, what you got?
Quick question for both you and Joe. As avoidance, were you looking to make up excuses to be away from your partner at the time? Like, I don't like this about them, or I don't like that about them. Or was it
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. A lot of times as excuses, not that I didn't like them, but I was like, uh, oh, work was really tough today. Like, you know, can I have some space after work? I think too, as well, like growing up, my parents were a similar situation. And I like if they were fighting, I always would see my dad being super quiet or even just like leaving, right? And I thought, oh, that's the right thing to do, just seeing that growing up. So I would often even do that. And then I realized recently that that was a big issue in their relationship. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to second that. I definitely did that, Tasso. I found excuses to make myself very busy, whether it was getting up at 5 and running around South Boston or going to CrossFit after work, or I had this with like I was always just avoiding really close, intimate settings, like even dates. Like I didn't like going out on dates because I didn't like sitting there at this table. I had such a fear of intimacy in my 7-year relationship. And my partner spent a lot of time dealing with that, right? Putting up with that. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question there. Make sense?
I got something on that.
Shoot.
I did the same thing. You know, I think I'm the avoidant, fearful avoidant, or whatever they want to call it, man. I showed up 100% and then realized I had unhealed stuff from, as a kid. And instead of communicating that to her, saying, "Hey, I'm feeling this way. I've picked up on something right here. I failed this." I communicated at first, but then I stopped communicating and saying like, "Hey, I'm feeling this way." And then I just started to, not show up and, make, she tried to, you know, I think she's the anxious and she tried to show up everywhere, and get closer. And I just kind of resisted it. And stopped communicating. And, from the beginning had said, "Hey, when it gets hard, let's figure this out." But then I shut down, she shut down. There was no communication. And then she got tired of me pulling away. And as a result, here I am. So I think the communication is key. Talking through whatever it is. How are you feeling? This is how I'm feeling. Meeting in the middle, working that out, 100%. So that's it.
Good. I love that. Thank you.
That's
Thank you
a
for sharing.
that's 100% what I did as well. I clearly have been raised by men. So with everything that I've seen in healthcare, we weren't taught how to compartmentalize and talk about that stuff. So we just shove it down. We shove it into the box and we don't talk about it. And so, yeah, communication is key instead of pulling back into yourself and not talking about stuff. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, something that's really changed throughout my life as well is like I will do relationship check-ins in my relationships now. And so once a week, I find time to sit down and have conversations about where we showed up for each other or where we felt like we pulled away. And creating a safe space to talk about that without, fear of reprisal is really, really healthy. And I want to see more people start to do that in relationships. Because if you're in a relationship and you're still trying to figure out whether or not your person is an avoidant or what makes them anxious or what makes them feel secure, if you're not having those conversations and understanding that all three things can happen to one person, like that's just what are you doing? Right? That's not really a relationship. You're just kind of hanging out or your roommates. Like have the conversations about creating that emotional safety, especially for women, right? I don't want to speak for you guys, but like probably physical safety, emotional safety, financial safety, all of these things, right? Academic safety, right? All of the things that you want to pursue and how you want to grow. If a man isn't cultivating that and creating that, that's a problem, right? If a man is actively tearing away that down or not allowing that space to be made, that's probably going to make you avoidant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, men, we need to start having different ways to have these conversations with women, right? I don't know, ladies. I want to hear from you. I don't want to speak for you. What do you think?
I think for all of us, and I think especially for people like us, Cameron, when we need people to hold space for us, when we can't say how to hold space for us, when we have jobs where we can't say the things, I can't come home and tell you the why. I just need to be able to make a face and then I just need a hug because I
Uh,
can't say the things. That's it. That's and
yep.
like code word, and that's it. Omerta's a thing, HIPAA's a thing. That's that's it.
Mhm.
So holding space without knowing what you're holding space for, and guys, that is so hard for men to do. Men,
So hard.
you guys are fixers, and I love that. I love that men are fixers, and you guys want to fix everything. Listen, women, here's what we need. We need a snack. We need a hug. Sometimes we just need to cry. That's it. That's it. Especially when you have jobs that you can't talk about. So, and that's
Mhm.
really hard to hold space for us through that. So
Mhm.
that's my 2 cents.
Good. Anyone else want to share on this in particular? Okay. My another short 2 cents. I see a lot of men expecting their partners, their female partners, to quote unquote almost be too broy, right? Like men are expecting their female partners to act almost like one of their bros would act. And we have to snap ourselves out of that. I think that's a very important thing that we can talk about in our one-on-ones. Let's go to the next couple questions. We only got a few more. Oh, there was a second piece of that. Curious to the effect of consistent pot use and addiction and relating to avoidant brains. Does anyone want to touch on that? Amy, you can probably speak on the medical. What does consistent use of marijuana even do to a brain? I know it dulls it, but
It yeah,
explain that.
I think it actually deletes your brain cells. It's been a long time since I went down that rabbit hole. I'll have to circle back on that one. I'll have to look at
Mhm.
the neuroscience behind that. Let me dig
Yeah.
into that and I'll circle back.
I do know for a fact that it warps your ability to produce and recycle serotonin. So
Hmm.
it literally makes you less happy over time. So then you need more of a hit. So that
Yeah.
anxiety that you're trying to find reprieve from, it just
Hmm.
diminishes your brain and your ability to recycle both dopamine and serotonin.
Yeah.
So whoever
Don't
asked
do
that question,
don't do drugs, kids. Drugs are bad. Because
yes,
listen,
some are
I don't do drugs and I don't drink alcohol and I'm high on life All the time, most of the time, most of the time,
most of the time.
most of the time.
So
Just the
whoever,
cannoli weeks get me every once in a while.
you're good. But whoever asked that question, please connect with Amy. Send her a message on the chat so that you guys can get going there. Ba ba ba. So yeah, just truly going no contact. Like you have to go, I think you have to go cold turkey. That would be my best thing. Next question. How do you choose a small business idea and begin sharing it publicly without overthinking whether it's good enough or worrying about how it will be perceived? That's a great question. Tasso, how would you answer that?
I wouldn't share it publicly. Um, I found in the past when I talked about things, I got that kind of almost like satisfaction about talking about it, and I stopped executing, right? So I don't talk about stuff anymore. I just wait for the results to speak for themselves. So that would be my suggestion. That's how I deal with it.
Fuck yeah. Anybody else on that? Joe Jackknife, what you got? Business idea,
Yeah,
sharing it publicly.
so kind of I'm building something, uh, and I kind of have the same feeling as Tasso, but at the same time, like I don't know, my business plan right now kind of requires it to be, out there, and so it's a tough one. I think, yeah, I think if you're super passionate about it, I think you can't tell people. You just have to remember to, continue to execute and put in the time and effort, and results will continue to come. So.
Mm, that's a good one. Anyone else want to contribute about that? Sharing your business idea publicly without overthinking or thinking about whether it's good enough or worrying about how it will be perceived. All right. Yeah, I think I'm in agreement too, right? Don't share your business idea, just execute. Let your results speak for you, right? If you're already convinced that that's what you want to do and you've thought about it and it's a product or service and it's something that you would buy or be a consumer for or something that you would need, create it and then let your results speak for you. You can always shift and pivot later, but I will see people come in with business ideas that they want to do, but they're more inclined to talk about it because they think that telling other people makes them accountable for the work that they have yet to do. And that's not really a good recipe. I think inadvertently that adds more pressure to the situation rather than staying quiet and just executing at a solo pace. So, um, whoever asked that question, connect with both Joe and Tasso and continue to ask them a little bit more, which is good. Let's see what else we got. Oh, how to stop being a people pleaser and how to stop apologizing for existing. That's a great question. So, people pleasing behavior, I made 2 videos about that today. I've seen a lot of that throughout life lately. But how do you stop becoming a people pleaser? Who wants to tackle that one?
I think if you're like people pleasing someone, say a manager you really don't get along with, or yeah, there's a lot of friction, it just really weighs on you. And there's no better feeling than saying, like, speaking your opinion up to them. And once you've done it a few times, you realize that it's just a waste of time to people please, especially if it's someone that you don't agree with. And yeah, I don't know.
That's good. Janet, what you got about people pleasing?
I mean, I think it's kind of, at least my perspective on everything is understanding the root of it, right? Of why is the person, why are you people pleasing, and what like aspect or part of you, right? Kind of parts therapy of needs some support and understanding and love, right? I think there's an unmet need ultimately. I mean, I've done a lot of people pleasing in my life, and the more I get in touch with that little girl that needs something, the more I'm able to offer it to her instead of looking for it elsewhere.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That reminds me of another one of my friends who's a content creator. I'll post her stuff in there. Her name is Tara. But she talks a lot about how to heal the inner child. And I think people pleasing is related deeply to the inner child, right? Anyone that reads Carolyn Myss books, MYSS, she talks a lot about archetypes, the inner child being one of them. And I would highly recommend that you do more identification work there. Tasso, what do you think about people pleasing? Where does it come from? How do you stop doing it?
I was a big time people pleaser. Um, and kind of um doing some research, doing some self work. No More Mr. Nice Guy was a good book. I think you had recommended, I believe that book was a big help in uncovering that. So it had a lot to do with my childhood. But I didn't realize it was selfish. I didn't realize I was lying to myself. And in that way, I'm also lying to other people, right? You can't gain trust like that. Um, you're, I read this quote not too long ago that said, your yes doesn't mean anything if you don't know how to say you know, right? And it's about setting up those boundaries. Um, so it's something I'm still working on, right? I don't think I'll ever may not fully grow out of it, but I think awareness is good. In that book, No More Mr. Nice Guy was a huge eye opener, and some of the posts that you've made as well on social media was a big help to get me going in that direction. So yeah.
Mhm. There's another book that I'm gonna share. It's a book called Not Nice. Has anyone read this book? Oh, this is like the doctorate. I just put it in the chat, but this book is like the doctorate in how to stop people pleasing. And I think that if you're serious, you need to be able to like recognize what the concept of nice is. And there's a huge difference in between being a nice guy and a good dude, right? And I say that because I don't want to speak for women. I haven't found a comparable term that I can throw out there. But like people pleasing is both a male and female trait. Everyone does it. We all do it. Oftentimes it is subconscious because, like Janet said, there's an unmet need somewhere. And so being able to identify it, being able to stopping to apologize for existing, learning how to say no, like these are skills that we require as human beings. We have to be able to stand on our two toes instead of becoming bootlicking people in hopes of being accepted or wanted or chosen from other people. Like it's not helpful. Anyone else? Val, what you got?
The last thing I want to add to that is I tend to think of things from like a spiritual perspective too. So I like human design a lot, and I know that I'm a generator. And for generators, if you don't feel excited about doing something, that's a sign of like that's a no. So even if someone's asking me like for help, which seemingly is something that I would say yes to because somebody needs help, if I don't really feel it in me that I should be the one to do this, how do I know that I'm not stopping somebody that can show up better to help this person just because I am needing to say yes because I think that's the right thing to do, or I feel like some sort of compromise, but really, maybe somebody else is meant to help that person. Or it's supposed to unfold in a different way where I am not supposed to be in there. So I guess you have to know your human design to know that, but that's like a quick trick for me to remember, like, should I engage in this or not?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really valid point too. There's another book called Codependent No More. If you haven't read Codependent No More, that book talks about the enablement of people pleasing and teaches you about codependency as well. Brian Ortiz, what you got about people pleasing? How do you stop being a people pleaser?
Well, I think, you know, for me, it was everybody else's happiness before my own. And if I learned to be happy with myself, first, then other people, of course, are going to come second with my kid. But I like what Tasso said about the no thing, because no is a complete sentence. And that's what I got.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's awesome. Uh,
I,
Anybody else? Go ahead. What
I
you
just
got?
want to say thanks. Is it Valeria or Valeria? Sorry. Um, the second one. I just really
Valeria.
appreciate. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I appreciated that. I feel like that wasn't my question, but I think I see patterns in myself where I'll do that because I feel like a sense of duty, right? Like I don't call myself a people pleaser, but I'm like, well, that's what good friends do. So I make up stories. But I'm absolutely a generator, and sometimes I'll just like sludge through something, and it reminded me to like kind of check in with myself, to say like, to kind of check in with my nervous system, as well as if I'm doing something and it doesn't have that generator energy, there's probably something for me to look into and to be self-aware. So I think for anyone that self-identifies as a people pleaser, I think is just acknowledging it every day, like awareness of it. Because then with the awareness, it's easier to kind of break free from the patterns, to call it or to name it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Anybody else have anything going on? Okay, cool. Charlie is losing his mind, scratching at my door and stuff. So I'm gonna end the call a couple minutes early, but we'll do our kind of outros. Feel free to toss your link down below. And Charlie, you're fine. Relax 1 minute. Everyone throw your links down there so you can connect with other people. Again, we're going to do these group calls on Sundays and Thursdays. Sundays at 5 p.m., Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. RSVP ahead of time. It's only ever going to be 10 people. So RSVP, submit questions. These hours do go by quick. You guys have some great stuff. If you don't want this posted, right, speak now or forever hold your peace. Send me a message on chat or send me something on WhatsApp. I generally post these a day or two later. I also sent in our Discord for those of you that haven't joined. Share that. That community forum is going great. I recommend being on Discord and then, muting all of your notifications so you don't get blasted every time somebody posts in there, and check it periodically because there's good conversations. But yeah, I'll put this in the Discord after it processes up there. Again, if you don't want it or your name on the internet, just let me know. These are the only things that we'll ever post online, just kind of showcasing our community and a lot of the really cool things that you guys talk about and share. But yeah, I can't thank you guys enough for coming. And for those of you that have one-on-ones or have completed all of your one-on-ones, alumni, always welcome. You guys are amazing people to have in here because you reinforce really healthy things for other people who are just kind of learning or being introduced to some of these new concepts. So thank you for continuing to come and show up and be moderators in this community. That's a big goal of this year, is to create more of a community for you guys to help each other out. It's not always about what I bring to the table because my German Shepherd runs my life. Can I help you? Chill out. Anyways. So if you need anything else, send me a DM. I love all you guys. Have a great Sunday night. Hopefully you're not too snowed in, but yeah, we'll see you guys on the next couple calls. Okay. All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.